Hello and welcome to SOUQ Pulse. This is your show and here we talk. This is SOUQ News and we are all about positivities. So wherever you've been, whatever dose of narrative have crossed your mind, your eye, your ears, they are tingling, come here and detox. And when you get here, we'll tell you don't keep quiet. So it doesn't matter what's happening business-wise, policy-wise, nation-wise, we talk. My name is Chuks, John Rogers Chuks, and we are going somewhere that you know we will definitely talk about it. And I have a lineup of guests that will do justice to it. We'll be looking at a particular policy that is coming into effect very soon. I'll also be looking at what is going to cause, the ripple effect, who is affecting, who is not affecting, and everyone that is involved. So you need to be present for this. So call up your neighbors, your friends, everyone. It's time for SOUQ Pulse. It's time to talk. Don't go anywhere. We'll go on this very short break. When we return, I will introduce our topic and our guest, and we will hit it on the head. Don't go anywhere. SOUQ Pulse will be right back. Welcome back. This is SOUQ Pulse. So today we are looking at not just pollution as in pollution, but we're looking at the business that has to do with what people are looking at the environment and the policy that is coming into effect and who is going to affect aside the environment, aside me, you, Lagosians, Nigerians, and every other person out there. Now, come January 2025, there is going to be a ban on single-use plastics. The Lagos state government has come up and put that to law. Now, before this happened, there has been a ban on styrofoams. But we also still see this in use and around markets till date. So today we are going to be examining and asking ourselves directly this question. What effect is this ban going to be on businesses and also the environment? The environment, a lot of us can answer all that. But for businesses, what are the effects that this is going to show up? Now, for those that are wondering, environment-wise, health-wise, there's this particular estimation that about 30,000 people lose their lives thanks to pollution from the environment in Lagos alone yearly. Now, the pollution can vary from different aspects. Now, you think cut that up and also talk about it. But for business, what is this ban going to show up? And that we'll be looking at and we'll be talking about it. Now, to do justice to this particular discourse for today, we have the chairman and who's also the board of directors of the Guild of Water Purifiers and Researchers of Nigeria. For those that don't know, they are a leading association for sachet and bottled water packaging processing in Nigeria. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, join me as I welcome for the first time on SOUQ Pulse, Mr. Oladimeji Solomon Olaniyi Joseph. Sir, you're welcome to SOUQ Pulse.
Thank you, moderator. Thank you, Leon.
You're welcome. Then also virtually we'll also be joined by Dr. Femi Egbesola. He's not just a visitor right now. We regard him as an in-house and an authority. He's the president of the Association of Small Business Owners of Nigeria, and this affects small businesses a lot. Now, aside small businesses, then we that use it affects us a lot. So, Dr. Femi, you're welcome to SOUQ Pulse again.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Then we'll also be joined by Mr. Joshua Olayinka Padoni. So when he gets in, we'll get to introduce him. But now let's get this gist off the ground. Let's hit it running. Let's start this way. Are Lagosians informed or duly informed that by January, the use of single-use plastics and styrofoam that has been there before is going to be a criminal?
Thank you, the moderator. I need to thank the president of the Association of Small Scale Owners of Nigeria. At the same time, thank the president of GOPAN, that's the Bureau of Water Purifiers and Researchers of Nigeria.
Okay.
Coming to your question, the information has not been officially given to those who wrote us.
The information has not been officially
Yes,
given.
given.
Okay.
We have not received the information officially.
Who has not refused? Negotiations or the business people behind the plastics?
When I say stakeholders,
Okay.
the producers,
Okay.
and even those who are producing the nylons.
Both those producing
yes,
okay.
They have not been officially engaged. Probably, maybe some few have been engaged, all right, be informed, but generally,
the association itself,
the association itself
has not been engaged in this. Okay. But if we go by this particular publication from Lagos State, it makes it a crime using this particular product by January 2025. So I will be committing a crime if I'm using it. And if Lagosians are not informed, okay, that is another kettle of fish. And we will also get there. Now, let's look at this. Environment-wise. Aside the environment, is this particular ban bringing up a bigger problem?
Yes, thank you. Aside of environment, the bigger problems we are expecting will involve most of the producers losing their investments. There are so big investments that are involved in this thing.
When we say producers, can you give us examples of producers?
Okay. For example, those who are producing the nylon, they import it. And
okay.
then they are invested a lot of money in it. Some of them are even imported nylon or bottle PET for the next 2 years. So if they are going to be banned now, it means one, they are losing their investment. Two, those who are producing the water are using it. It's not only the water producer alone that is using the nylon and the PET bottle. There are so many. Looking at it, Coca-Cola is involved. All other production are involved. But generally...
You mentioned Coca-Cola. I'll give you an invoice when you're done.
Generally, the problem will affect the population, at least 90% of Nigeria population, because they depend on water from private sectors, just like pure waters and bottled waters. So more than 90% of the population of Nigeria will be affected. That is as far as business goes. People who are producing will not be producing again. Those who are working there, they will not be working there. Then the question of unemployment will be skyrockets, in the sense that most of the people that are working there, collecting daily money or monthly money, they will be out of job.
Okay. While they right now, they are not out of job.
Right now,
and we are looking at this implementation January, and we don't want them to go out of job. Let's come to Dr. Femi Egbesola, because the members of your association are going to be greatly impacted if this go as planned. Now we are looking at this. This particular policy, was it communicated to the association? Or has it been in the pipeline, as they say, for a long time? Or is just more of a political move?
Thank you very much. The Lagos State government announced this about a year ago, that they are going to ban styrofoams and single-use plastics. But in the real sense, this is not well communicated to stakeholders, like the colleague in the house have said, in the studio has said. Quite a number of those who are stakeholders in the water section, particularly in the single-use plastic sector, are not carried along the way they should be. There's a lot of gap when it comes to dissemination of information related to this, and also to the consumers. The consumers too are not really aware of this intended ban. And of course, you know that when there are issues like this, there's always a change in consumer behavior. So the government should have done better by preparing the mind, sensitizing the public, both the users, both the producers of single-use plastics, those who are in the value chain of the single-use plastic, and also the consumers of the single-use plastic, of the impending ban that is coming up, sending reminders from time to time when it is 6 months to the deadline, when it is 3 months to the deadline, and all of that. So this coming up this time is a shock to many of those in that value chain, and even to us, that umbrella body of those who are in this business of the use of single-use plastics. And for us, I think it's time for us to begin to request for government to see how they can balance this at this time. One way this can be done is really to see how this ban can be done in phases instead of outright ban. Some of us are advocating for this to be done in phases. We have a lot of single-use plastics.
While you are looking at thinking or suggesting it be done in phases, our guest brought up something that is very cogent, and we think we need to talk about it. He talked about those that are producing the plastic themselves, that some of them have stocked or product they use for manufacturing for use in the next 2 years. Some have product in the warehouses that they've stocked, and this needs to be turned to product and sold. How do you deal with these people? Then how do you also convert the machines used for this particular product if at the end of the day this gets to happen? How do you repurpose these machines and the people that are working within this industry? Because even if we turn it to phases and phases and phases, how do you repurpose all this value chain? I'm thinking about it. I can't get my head around it. So what do you think can happen?
Yes, there's going to be a lot of issues like you have identified, because transition will not definitely be easy. And that's why we are talking about government actually providing a policy framework that will assist in transitioning from single-use plastic to alternative means. And that will take a lot of time, not a space of 1 year. We would have also expected government to do a lot of research work in providing alternatives and being able to build the capacities of those who are using these single-use plastics to be able to transit to the alternatives. This will definitely take quite a number of time or years, if you ask me. And you must agree with my colleague in the House that did say that a lot of investments has been done on the back end to ensure that production continues with product that has to do with single-use plastics. These are enormous funds. Some of them are borrowed from the banks. Some are savings of many years that have been invested. Many have been in the business for 2, 3, 5 years and have not been able to recoup their investment, not to talk of profits, and now sending them out of the market will be very detrimental both to the owners of the business and to the workforce working with them. So we must not throw the water with the baby. We must find ways to look at alternatives that we can provide to ensure that there is a smooth operation between those who are engaged in the value chain and government to achieve their aim. Yes, government wants to ensure that we have good health, because health is where to really, but at the same time too, we must also put into consideration the livelihood, the well-being, and the sustainability of those who are in that value chain, particularly those who are producing it, using it for other products, and those who are the consumers.
One major thing you see around Lagos when it comes to availability of potable water is what we call pure water, the one in polythene bags. So some sell for 20, 50, depending on the area where you are. And it's everywhere, because you don't see a tap where you turn on and water that you can drink is out. So the first thing that will come to anybody's mind as a Lagosian is, where do I get my water from? So now this also happens to be your association. So I'm asking you, where do I get my water from?
Thank you, the moderators. That is the reason why we are appealing to the government. The government needs to engage the stakeholders so that we can prepare, we start preparing how we can change from the old one to the new one. And then the issue of how do I get my water, it still depend on the policies of the government, how to extend the period of transiting from the old one to the new one. Because we have to do a lot of research to get alternative. The alternative we have now are very, very expensive. And some of them we leave it. We've turned away from it. because the government too are not in favor of such alternative.
Alternative like?
Like glass, like ceramic. The only alternative we have now that would be very expensive is the biodegradable plastic.
Biodegradable plastic.
Yes. So, and then before we can do that and make it possible for people to get water as time goes on, it takes a lot of times. It's not what you can do the year or 2 years, because you have to research into how to get the raw materials. And then the use of the raw material, will it be friendly or friendly to the health or the environment? So
this research, this business, and government itself being able to go back to, we had an era when you turn on a tap and water is there. So which is more difficult, getting water back in the sachet or some other materials, or going back to the era of turn on the tap and there's water?
I remember when I was very young, at the very we don't even know what is called pure water. It was due to population explosion in Lagos before we were having what is called ice water being turned into those small. Now, during this period, it is very difficult for people to get water, but at the same time, some of the area where the Lagos City or the government is providing water, we don't even have the plastic to save water. You go to type and but now you don't even have what is called government water to majority of the. So to get water for the people now will be very, very difficult. And then difficult in the sense that if this one is banned, those who are involved, especially the last users, the end users, will have a lot in their hand. Looking at the population, looking at how to get the water, looking at the cost of getting the water. If the state government is able to give water, and you can open your tap and get water, then there will be no reason for people to be investing in private waters or private business. If they are now investing in this, I believe the major problems we should be looking at, how do we manage the wastage?
Waste from
the materials used for producing water, like nylon and PET bottle. So if those wastes are well managed, then we don't have problem as much. Because if they are managed, they can it can be recycled for the use for other.
Okay, if they are managed, they can be recycled.
It can be recycled.
Now, this brings me to this particular question. Who should take the responsibility? Because everywhere you look, be it gutters, be it the waterways, be it the sewer, be it the channels that have been built around Lagos, what you see filling up every single one of this is either plastics, styrofoams, any of this particular product. Who should take responsibility? Is it the producer? Is it the person that used and dumped? Or is it the government?
I believe everyone, both the producer, both the government, and those who are the last user. In 2018, I was in Australia. A piece of paper, you cannot use it and drop on it. You have every 500 meters, you see a container where you can drop paper or nylon or bottle or plastic. So if this is well managed and the environmental law is actually enforced as it should be, definitely this the wastage we are talking that is covering the gutter and everywhere and disturbing, and this can cause environmental hazard. We can manage it and reuse it for another purpose. I remember when a commissioner of environment, Wahab, was being interviewed the other times. He said Lagos State is generating 30,000 tons of waste every day, and 60% of it is from nylon and PET bottles. And at the same time, they are trying to, they have signed an MOU with foreign firms who will turn it to energy use. If you are now banning it now without properly, where do you get raw material for those foreign things you want to use? So apart from that,
before the raw materials, before the foreign use, what about the health?
What about
there is health in the middle?
They are health in the middle, but if the health can be managed, if there is the environmental law is actually enforced as it should be enforced.
But who should enforce the environmental law?
The government agents need to enforce it in conjunction with the user, because it's not the producer that dump up most of this in the water. It's the end users.
Okay, the end user is not responsible enough.
Yes, they are.
Just drinks.
I would not say they are not responsible enough.
Okay, they are not. The end users are not responsible.
And they have not been properly educated that you are polluting the environment. Even a sweet paper, a wrap of sweet paper, if you drop it and you continue to drop it, it becomes an environmental problem. But this one can be turned to wet. This one can be changed if the government is actually ready. Okay. So it's the duty of the government in collaboration with the producer and the end users.
Okay. While we look at whose duty and whose responsibility, because it's my responsibility to keep my environment clean. So it's not it's my responsibility to make sure that my environment is not filthy.
Yes.
So let's go back to Dr. Femi Egbesola. So, sir, your association, your members, what are they doing to be able to engage the government on this? Because if this go ahead as planned, there's going to be a whole lot of ripple effect. So what plan is coming from the members of your organization and other sister organizations to talk to government and have a solution, at least a working solution?
Thank you very much. As much as we are concerned about the health of the general citizens and the environmental impacts of plastics and its derivatives, we are also aware that a lot of damage will be done to particularly small business owners who operate in that space and use these plastics and other styrofoam materials. For that reason, we have chosen to advocate, to tell government that yes, you may be on the right road or the right path, but there are other alternatives and there are other ways to walk the path. So we're running advocacies, and one of these, I think, is what we are also doing here through your platform. We've been doing it since Monday. We've been going from one media house to the other. We're also planning to have a press conference. We are also writing the Lagos State government officially to express our stand about this, not just to express our disapproval or displeasure about the policy at this time, but to also provide alternatives for government. We have seen many other countries where there are banned on single-use plastics, like in Rwanda, in Uganda, in Somalia, in Kenya, and all of that. We discovered that this has not stemmed the tide at the end of the exercise. It has ended up to increase smuggling of some of these products into the country and challenge those who are in that country producing it. And these smugglers are threatened with imprisonment, with fines, and all of that. But even as at that, they still continue to import them in droves because they are ready to go through that route to get in prison because of the juicy profit they are making through smuggling. We don't want our situation to come to that. We also have other countries that have permitted plastic, single-use plastic to be at par with alternatives that they use. Some of these countries are Ireland, Belgium, Germany, and the rest, whereby they choose to tax manufacturers and users of single-use plastics. And then the tax manufacturer will now become, we will now be made to decide on where to go, whether to continue to use single-use plastics that come with very higher cost because of tax, or to move to alternative plastic materials that may be cheaper. And this has also helped the government to raise enough revenue through taxes on plastics that has been able to help them to clean the environment, to help them to process these plastics to other better use, and at the same time to provide training and public awareness on the hazards that single-use plastic can do to our health and to our environment. This will have been better. Yes, the alternative
let
that
me let me
government
hold
also has.
let me hold your thought a bit and get to ask you. You said something about tax. Good. If we are taxing single-use plastics, are we taxing manufacturers and users?
We are taxing those who manufacture the single-use plastic. They are the originator of the single-use plastic. When they manufacture, other manufacturers or producers in that value chain use it to package their products. Water is packaged with plastic. Other users also use plastics to package. So you don't tax them. You tax the manufacturers of plastic. It means that when a producer of water, for example, want to go and buy plastic, and he or she discovered that plastic is very expensive, and there are other alternatives that are cheaper, government may not really need to ban. The producer will on his own make a choice with whether to go for a higher product or go for a lower price product, because everyone will come back to the market. Those who are using plastic that are more expensive and those who are using alternatives that are cheaper will come back to the same market and to the same consumer. That makes it easier for everyone to adjust and become reintegrated to the alternatives that will provide all of us a soft landing, and business will continue without the necessary negative impacts that it's going to have on the generality of the business environment. That's what has been tested and trusted.
Let me put this before I let you rest a bit. Now, some years back, before the proliferation of plastic bottles with most of the beverage companies, they were using bottles, corked bottles. And they had crates whereby you go, you drop your crate, they refill it. We also see that with the alcoholic beverage bottles. But now we see plastic all over the place. Do you think we are likely going back to the era of bottles? And when it comes to water, how are we going to deal? Because water is what sells even beyond per millisecond. So how are we going to deal with water?
Well, I don't see us going back to bottles, so glass bottles. And the reason for that is that it is far more expensive packaging with glass bottles these days. Very much expensive. And in an economy where the consuming power of an average Nigerian has been eroded, it becomes more difficult to go for a higher price product. So that all is almost out of the way. What really is the alternative that government is actually promulgating now is to ensure that we have packaging materials made from wood that are perishable and degradable. That's what they're advocating for. But then there has not been a lot of research work done on that at the moment to support the stakeholders in that value chain. At the same time, too, we've not been able to see manufacturers coming out with these alternatives. It's one thing to ban, it's another thing to provide an enabling environment for those who are in that sector to be able to thrive, even with the ban. Our goal is not to kill businesses. Our goal is to create an environment that will ease the doing of business. And one of the ways we can do that is to provide policies and policies that will ensure that all companies, all manufacturers, all businesses are able to transit from one mode of production to the other, even if there are need for them to do so, without necessarily closing shop. That is what we are advocating for. We support Lagos State government if they actually feel that it's right to begin to checkmate this. But the timing for us is not too good. The moratorium also given is too short. And even as at that all of these should be done in phases, not outright. And again, too, there's need to create a lot of public awareness for the consumers. There's need to make sure that the capacities around those who are using this single-use plastics to be able to build their capacity to the point of embracing the alternatives. The alternatives also come with a lot of cost. Governments will also be able to render
while you are looking at them embracing alternatives, the alternatives we are yet to see. Let me come back here, sir. Now, you are a board member, not just a board member, you're the chairman of the Guild of Water Purifiers and Researchers of Nigeria. Now, from your point of view and your other sister organizations, the Association for the Potable Water, and is the investment going more in production or going more into research?
Not totally, because you cannot just, investment involve a lot of money. Research to involve a lot of money. So it depends, it involves the capital, huge capital. So research is going on one hand. Why you cannot use all your total capital for money for research. You have to take part. And then, research take a lot of times. Getting what you want to use, then researching to it, is it usable? Will it be environmental friendly, health-wise friendly? Because when you look at the pollution we have all over the places, and if it has been well managed, then we'll be thinking of how to stop the environmental pollution issue. But investment on research is not an easy thing.
It's definitely not an easy thing. But as we speak right now, and with this ban coming up, not just 2 months plus away, every eye is going to be looking at, okay, over the years, what has the research yielded, or what part are we pursuing for research when it comes to product that we can use for packaging this product? Coming to alternatives, what is likely going to come out? What is research going to produce? What is research going to give us to pursue? Or should we be looking for more investment into research?
Yes, we have to into more research now. And then we need to engage the government. Research alone, the association alone cannot do it. We need to engage the government, because the government will give us sample. We suggest alternative. So it's now left to the producer.
Is it government suggesting alternative to the scientists, or scientists telling the government this is what is available?
Yes. That is why I said the government need to engage all the stakeholders.
Okay.
Both the researcher, the producer, the user. We need to come together and discuss and find alternative to it. We are not blaming the government for doing this, because it is their duty to protect the interests of the masses. At the same time, if they are not doing it in a way, it may be in a comfortable and agreeable way, it may be counterproductive it may be a disservice to the masses. Because when you look at it, millions are taking water or using water from private owners, like pure water producer or bottled water producer, because there is no alternative except you have a borehole. Even your borehole may not be as good as the other water that have been produced hygienically and chemically. So the research is going to involve the government, the research, the scientists, and the other and all the association. So we are going to spend more money on research right now. But
when you say we are going to spend more money, is a business.
It's a business.
Good. So if you don't need government to give subventions or a grant or a loan, it's still a business.
It's still a business.
Okay. We'll go on a very short break. Very short break. When we return, we'll get back and talk about this. If this ban takes effect, how do you think it's going to affect you? Don't go anywhere. SOUQ Pulse will be right back. Yes, this is SOUQ Pulse, and we are live on SOUQ News. Remember, we are all about positivities, shaping policy, advancing development. And today we are looking at a ban on single-use plastics and styrofoams. That has been done long ago, even if we still see them in circulation. Enforcement is what is needed. Now, for those that are wondering, how does this concern me? Let's start from this. You'll see what I'm holding. Inside of it is water, potable water. So you see this around Lagos and all the major cities of Nigeria. I won't say on a daily, but if you look around, you don't see this, then know that something is wrong where you are. And this is the major source of drinking water to a lot of people. So let's start with this. How do you think it's going to affect you if this is not available? Because this container, that's what I'll call it, is single use. Now, for those that like their beverage, call it any name, that container also has to go. Now, for those that go to the shopping malls, the big boys, and you have to carry out things in those things you hold in two hands after paying those good amount of money, that also has to go. And a lot of the packaging of the entire product, more than 70-80%, that also has to go. Now, somebody will shout, pet bottles, beautiful. But do you know that within the pet bottles, there is also this? That also has to go. So now this entire value chain is what we are looking at and asking ourselves questions. Have we thought this through? Have we made arrangements to accommodate both the producer, the product, and the consumer? And also make sure that we don't lose money and we don't lose businesses. So now let's come back. Health-wise, is this ban profitable?
Health-wise is, we can say it's positive or negative. One, if this is banned, most of the people that are using this water as alternative for good water.
Before we start looking at the water,
okay,
let's look at the effect that pollution is causing. Health-wise, is it yes?
Yes, health-wise, if it is well managed.
If it is well managed. Looking at microplastics all over the place.
Yes.
Fishes are eating it. I get to eat fish. Pregnant women are going for tests, and you are seeing microplastics in their blood. And this has long-term effects. So health-wise, is it a yes or a no?
It's yes.
Health-wise, yes.
Yes.
Good. So that means environment-wise too, yes.
Yes, environment-wise.
Now, if we go back to environment-wise, we talked about it earlier on. We are responsible because we are the ones that are littering the place. From the producer to the user to the government, who agencies are not cleaning up as fast as I am littering, and to the government that is not holding me responsible for doing the right thing. So we are all guilty. Now, sorting this out, because we need businesses to thrive. We need people to get employed. We need money to move around. Taxes has been suggested. What are the immediate alternatives that your association can proffer?
As at now, our association have started contacting our researching the department. So, for example, the researchers of Nigeria and of West, we have contacted them, all right? And then we are working silently to see how we can overcome. But the problem we are having now is that the period of ban is too short, and it may not be, possible for us to have a very good alternative between now and January 2025. So, but we are working seriously, but we want to engage the government where they can assist.
Assist exactly in doing what?
Assist in terms of research for the good one that would be a friendly.
If they are assisting in research, it means they have to fund the research.
Yeah, they have to fund research.
Very specific the angles that we are towing.
They have to fund, number one. They have to ensure that whatever we are researching to, because they have research department too. We have the government have research department too. They have to make sure that what we are doing in conjunction with them is will not be the same problem we are having today in futures.
Okay.
So we have to start early, and then we have to work hand in hand. The government need to engage all the stakeholders. Otherwise, whatever we are researching to will just be there. We'll go back to square one. You understand now? So for environment and health, we know it is the government is trying to protect us, which is their duty, which we agree. But at the same time, at these particular times, if government can manage the waste as at now, while we are working for the new one, then definitely the people will not be, many people will not be affected. Okay. I mean, the producer, the end user, and those who are even the product of the packaging, the loss will be minimized, and the health-wise will be equally minimized.
Okay, we all want the best, both for the consumer, the producer, the business, and the entire chain, and the government also.
Yes.
Because for those that are wondering, every of these companies, for those that are qualified to pay tax, they all pay tax.
Yes.
Good. So, and government will not want, I will say, lose your tax. No. Because that tax made the road clean and put the BRT bus that brought me to office this morning. So, no, we can't lose that tax. Now, how can we say government slow down? I'm coming to you, Dr. Femi. is it possible, remotely possible, whereby we have a kind of consensus that say, okay, good, instead of January 2025, can we start shifting the goalpost, but have some milestone of achievement along the line? Okay, by January, we should do this. By first quarter, we should do this. Is it possible we have that alignment with government, and this policy will be tweaked to accommodate both the producer, the end user, and the government itself that needs to collect tax from these companies?
That is exactly what we are advocating for, because for us, we believe it is possible. It is very possible. Like you did mention the other time, these single-use plastics cut across single-use cups, single-use cutleries, single-use packaging materials, and all of that. It's enormous. Even the straw is enormous. So we are preaching to government this time, advocating that for us, the best way to go is to do it in phases. If we are to decide to start with banning sachet water, then plastic water should be allowed to be for a while, if not for a longer while. There could be other alternatives to ensure that plastics are rightly disposed, plastics are rightly collected by government, and reused for other purposes. You will go along the street now and you see quite a number of people engaged picking plastics along the road. They are not picking it for the purpose of just for the fun of it. They are picking it for the purpose of business. They're also selling it to recyclers that are using it for other purposes. This could also be enriched. We are also saying that governments should also be able to cushion the cost of moving to alternative packaging materials. Yes, we are already doing a lot of research on how to begin to use wood and paper degradable materials for packaging liquid. That is already ongoing, but it will take a lot of time, and it is also going to take a lot of money. Government should also be able to come up to support those in that value chain, particularly with technology, with research, and with funding, and also a policy framework that will ensure easy transition from what we have now to these alternatives. This is very, very important to us, and that's what we're advocating for. If this is done, it will preserve the businesses, it will preserve those that are also functioning in the business value chain that has to do with single-use plastics. And it will also ensure that government achieve their intended goal over time. We all want to be healthy. Yes, like you did mention, we have microplastics being detected in our bloodstream now. Nobody wants that, because that is an indicator of cancer. We are all in support of government in this policy, but the implementation of it is what we have concerns about. The public awareness of it is what we have concerns about. The support of government in transitioning from this single-use plastic to alternatives is what we have concerns about. The provision of support services, particularly funding research and equipment to be able to transit, is what we have concerns about. And we believe that the government will be sympathetic enough to look at our cause and our concerns and look at a way to meet in the middle and provide an environment whereby everyone will survive and still get to the point we want to get to.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, before I let you go, let's go back a bit. Let's backtrack a bit. Now, it's over a year, over almost 2 years, that the Lagos State government also said no to styrofoams. But we get to see this product everywhere. People are still using it, not aware of the dangers of that particular product. At what point in time do you think government enforcement, education, and information should take the front burner?
Thank you, the moderator. Before the banning of that styrofoam, the government should have engaged people, because at times government will be doing something that is very nice, and people may not even know because of their interest and their daily earning. So, but the government need to educate both locally, both on television, on the radio, and community meeting, so that they will be aware that what they are using for and what government is doing is for their interest and for their head. But if government is fail to engage them effectively, efficiently, it may be very difficult for them to understand what government is doing. So right from the time the government is, before they will even come out and ban, you should have been informing and repeating, and then planning, calling the people around, This is what we are suggesting, or this is what you do before the times come up. But if such thing is not done, people will look at government as being harsh. They will look at government as being government is not protecting them. They will look at government as if because they don't know the hardship they are going through. You understand? That is exactly what the government need to engage people right from the time, even before the banning. And then when they announce that this thing will be banned, so it must be continuously informed. They must continually inform the members and the public. And then people will prepare, and the producer, the user, the packager will come together and say, look, this is the government made business. But when you said we are going to find this in, and for almost 6 months or 6 months, you are not saying anything until when it is very close. So it will be very difficult for people to believe that you are working for their interest. We are not blaming government, but what we are saying, government should give us time.
Okay.
Government should.
That's for the single-use plastic.
Yes, government should give us time. Government should give us alternative or suggest alternative in conjunction with our own.
You will come up with alternative.
We'll come up with the alternative. Mm-hmm. But with our alternative, the government have to approve it.
It's just a matter of
it's a matter of time. What we are telling government is that give us more time. And then
if we say give us more time, how long a time are you looking at?
If you look at it, to change the engine, to ensure that the materials we want to use, to do a research thoroughly, so that it will be health-wise friendly, environmentally friendly, and the government too will accept it. And the people, you have to educate people.
You're making product for the people, not for the government. The government is only going to
let me tell you, we are making product for the people.
If the people say this product is not good,
we are making product for the people. You understand now? But the government too has a duty
to check the
quality and make sure that what we are doing, the people are taking it.
Okay.
Or you understand? Then, not only that, if we are saying they should give us time, minimum of 2 years, so that we can start right now. But next year, January is just a 2 months, 3 weeks. 3 weeks. It will be very difficult. Millions will go on. Millions investors will have problem. 2 are those workers who are working there will have problem. We are talking of unemployment is very common. Now, if we now ban it immediately, more than 10 million or 20 million will be affected. Especially in Lagos, 90% or 95% engage in this water in times of daily job, then drinking or the usage, and then those who are producing it, the driver, the worker, the engine, everything is going to be a big problem for everybody.
Okay. While we are here, I will talk about means and solutions of avoiding this problem. I want to say thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Oladimeji Solomon, for coming in on SOUQ Pulse. It's been nice having you and have you talk passionately about what you know and what you believe in.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Femi Egbesola. Also, you are always a very, very good sport. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me, and I do hope that this discussion will continue until we have a soft landing. You remember that quite a number of bigger organizations are already preparing backward integration to begin to use alternative packaging materials even before January. But we small business owners do not have that kind of fund. We don't have that kind of capacity to adjust within a short time. And we believe that advocacy can do a lot to change the narratives. I want to thank you again for giving us this platform.
Now, to everyone out there, remember this is my responsibility. It's your responsibility to keep that environment clean. So when you drink this sachet of water, or when you take that particular bottle that has your beverage inside and you toss it from the bus or your car into any of those gutters, ask yourself, how human are you? Does it make sense to you? Your ancestors, are they not slapping you from behind? These are things that we should always consider, because if we want to stay healthy, then we should make sure government is spending less on things that they shouldn't be spending money at all. On this particular issue, we still feel the government can still have a parley with producers, with manufacturers, with the researchers, and a solution will come. If it's done in phases, good. But as long as there is a solution so that I can have my water to drink, you can have your beverage to drink, you can have your poly bags to take your goods out of the market, and also those containers you keep at home. To everyone out there, let's join our hands and our mouth and our voices in this conversation and seek a solution and keep businesses going, because that is the cocoa of the matter for those of you from this side of the divide. I want to say thank you very much for joining us. We'll do this again tomorrow. This is SOUQ Pulse. My name is Chuks, John Rogers Chuks. Don't look for trouble. Be your neighbor's keeper. Love your neighbor as yourself. Have yourself a beautiful, beautiful evening. Bye.